Archives of Prasar Bharati presents the timeless treasure of golden era.
The prince and the princess were married and lived happily ever after. This is the fairy tale ending of a story, but most of us who are married would know that this is not the ending in real life. Wedding marks the beginning of a relationship that develops into marriage. Marriage is a complex phenomena which is probably as old as civilization itself. It exists in myriad forms across cultures throughout the world. In our country, marriage is not only a psychosocial relationship between two individuals, but is a complex phenomena of the overall society and the extended family. Where does it stand? What is the future? Is it a stable affair or is it on some very unsure grounds? Let us watch this in today's episode.
Today, you got to have a great amount of understanding to make a marriage successful.
An ideal marriage means one should have each understanding with each other and cooperation.
काम करते हैं दोनों कैसे हो जाएगी खटपट.
Marriage has no meaning now, you know. People are living together and most of them have somebody else also.
The whole meaning of a marriage is to have harmony at home, and without that a marriage would not work.
Well, marriage is a gamble. You can't really say whether a marriage will be successful.
Marriage is a joyous event in anyone's life, but it also involves an element of stress. Stress to make the marriage work. The stress is also to ensure that one is able to understand and adjust not only with the spouse but with also the other family members as well as the friends of the spouse. It involves a certain amount of give and take as well as adjustments without which no marriage can be truly successful.
With the changing of time, our thoughts, our deeds are also changing. But to maintain our own social status, to maintain our own standards, and to maintain the peace and harmony between husband and wife, it is essential and it is necessary to have an understanding between each other to lead a happy, better life.
For ages, we have had a very stereotypical role of the man-woman relationship. Now, in this regard, what we had thought, we had assigned certain roles to the men, we had assigned certain roles to the women. And the society had come to expect that such roles are not changeable. Nevertheless, we have seen that for the last some years, there has been a kind of a change in the status of women in our society, which has largely come about because of the higher educational attainment of the women, their increase in the getting higher positions in the job sectors. Resultantly, they have got the higher socioeconomic status now. They have an ability to make independent decisions. They have ability to make independent life of their own, which is not so much latched on to the dictates of their in-laws or the husband's families, you know. So with the result now, women have got a different kind of roles to play, both inside the home as well as outside the home.
The marital relationships go through certain fluxes as far as dual working partners are concerned. With the emphasis on both couples having to work, especially in urban areas, there is some problems that are faced by these people, because the roles that these couples have to perform become more. So this is an area which does cause problems. So this might stress the marriage in some way. because the couple have to do more roles, the couple have to function as different people. For example, they have to function as breadwinner, they have to function as child rearing people, they have to function as people who are looking after various functions of the family.
The stress arises basically one due to the children, and then the kind of time arrangements and to look after the children between us, because both of us are working, and we have been facing problems here and then, in the sense when children fall sick, or when they were having holidays and we don't have holidays, and to look after these children. We do have sometimes we have a little bit of time arrangement problems, and so it leads sometimes also to some kinds of misunderstanding to a certain extent.
We are both employed. It sometimes becomes a little too hectic for us, like we come back from work and we have to manage the children at home. They are sick sometimes, especially in winters or something. So this is where the prime area of stress is really.
Successful marriage, first of all, it would depend upon the coping ability of the partners. For example, these days when both persons are working and there is a stress in the office and stress which is carried over at home, if the person does not know how to cope with that stress, it is bound to create into frustration, anger, having quarrels and fights at petty issues.
Marriage is a very complex interaction between two complex people who can adapt to each other in thousands of ways. We have been told traditionally that marriage means stability, but nowadays the very concept of stability is being questioned.
तुम एक संडे का दिन भी तो मेरे लिए नहीं रख सकते?
क्या करूं, आज मेरे को भेजना था, इसलिए मैं आज नहीं आ पाया।
तुम्हें भेजना कब नहीं होता, आज भेजना होगा, अगले हफ्ते फिर भेजना होगा। ऐसा करो, मैं मम्मी के घर चली जाती हूँ, जब काम खत्म हो जाए बुला लेना।
ठीक है, चले जाना।
Well, sometimes I too do the same things he does, like I just go and lock myself in my room for a while, or I go into the kitchen to do some cooking, and just to stay away from him till he cools off.
People are living now too much in the mind, like mind says, yeah, this is it, and I want to be independent. A wife says, I want to be independent. I'm not a cook in the house, I'm not a servant in the house. And especially if a woman is financially independent.
We are witnessing a lot of role reversals, and with the result of that, what's happening is that the men are finding it very difficult to really adjust in their marital relationships. Now, this has led to a lot of problems in marriages. People are finding that the kind of expectations they could have from their partners, those are no longer fulfilled.
The women are getting quite conscious of their rights and quite conscious of their discomfort, and the fact that marriages are not going to their entire satisfaction.
Nowadays, the woman has to bear a lot of the burden in a marriage. The man is very busy in his office and his other activities, and the woman has to bear the brunt. It becomes a single parent family for all practical reasons.
Today, a husband and wife has got a lot of problems. The problems of the inner conflicts, the problem of their egos, and the problems of their inner turmoils. But question is this, whether these kind of problems existing between husband and wife, a married couple, is justified or not.
No marriage is free of conflicts, of its ups and downs. Yet, there are some very general principles which can help people to make a successful marriage and a marriage that endures.
Today, you got to have a great amount of understanding to make a marriage successful, because at the time husband is working, wife is working, you don't have time in life, and if you don't have the understanding whereby you can understand each other's problems and share each other's problems, the marriage is very difficult to really continue like that.
When I come back from office, I'm equally tired. If he doesn't help, it becomes difficult. So we do work together.
I would even say that I can say that how do I show that I care unless I share her work?
Any relationship based on dependence of any kind, whether monetary or social or emotional, that is likely to disintegrate. But a healthy marriage will come if both partners have their own place in life, they are self-assured, and they enter into relationship with open eyes.
दोनों अगर वर्किंग हैं तो एक दूसरे की हेल्प वैसे करना ही चाहिए. ईगो प्रॉब्लम.
If both are working, then they should help each other. There should not be a rigid stand that being a male, he will not help at home.
मेल है तो वो कहेगा मैं घर के मैं बिल्कुल मैं देखूंगा ही नहीं.
No marriage can remain static. It evolves over a period of time as each partner grows, and each partner must try and adjust to the growing demands of the other partner. It also has to be kept in mind that with the fast changes coming in our society, the partners also have to respond to the changing cultural molds and also try and adjust with that as well as with each other.
In the past, the ladies are not so educated. They are what their husband is telling they are doing. Now the wives also educated. They definitely there will be a difference of opinion and differences will be there.
Increasingly we find that men and women are walking out of marriages for the most trivial reasons. Probably the increasing competitiveness as well as materialism and rat race is taking its toll on the couples. Also coupled with this is the fact that there are changing roles within the family as well as mounting pressures from around on the marriage, thus leading to tensions and marital disharmony.
ये क्या है? घर बना के क्या ये तरीका है? ये क्या है? कंप्यूटर टेबल है कि क्या तुम्हारा सर अपना तुम्हारा माइक नहीं है समझे? और ये ढक्कन किसने रखे है यहाँ पे? ये देखा ये? साला मैं दिन भर यहाँ पे काम करूँ और ऑफिस में वहाँ पे दुनिया भर का वो भाषण सुनूँ और तुम्हारा यहाँ ये बिहेवियर है. तरीका ये देखा है? What is this all nonsense? Ridiculous.
While there are many factors in marital disharmony, first is the problem of not having the equal manners and abilities to cooperate and collaborate between two distinct individuals. Many times an individual might get married because of dowry, not having the compatibility between the two individuals. Secondly, an individual might have some emotional problems which has been kept hidden from the other sides. Thirdly, there might be some economic problem that hasn't been disclosed.
Primarily there are personality problems which can, two different personalities can have a clash because of which, or it could be basically the ideology, or it could be the background, it could be the basics, differences in the class, religion, cultural background, so on and so forth. Now, apart from that, there are expectations from each other, expectations from marriage, expectations from the institution of, like the society as such, and the image of a would-be partner may not be matching with the spouse.
शादी से पहले तुमने क्या कहा था? You are my first obsession. उसके बाद भूल गए? कह दो कि नहीं कहा था. और मैं तुमसे क्या डिमांड कर रही हूँ? कुछ अनयूजुअल डिमांड कर रही हूँ मैं तुमसे? नहीं, तुम्हें बताना होगा.
कहा था
क्या कहा मैं? पूरे वीक में 2 घंटे भी तुम मेरे लिए नहीं निकाल सकते?
अच्छा ठीक है, बैठो.
Such daily tensions take their toll on couples, making them grow apart from each other and alienating them in thought. They may not be separated legally, but may live in cocoons of their own, each seeking out individual lives rather than growing together.
An unfortunate fallout of our stressed society is an increase in the number of cases of separation and divorce. More and more people are seeking out divorce as a way out of a problematic marriage. There can be any number of reasons because of which people seek divorce, ranging from problems with the in-laws, monetary problems, property problems, or one of the spouses working and feeling threatened, incompatibility, adultery, drug abuse, and alcoholism.
In Western countries, 3 out of 5 marriages end in divorce. Now, many states it has gone even 4 out of 5. So I think that Indian marriages are doing much better.
What we find in Western countries, the single mother, separation of the family, broken families, they will create a lot of behavior problems, violence because of this deprivation.
The advent of technology, take for example the television. It has come between a husband and wife. It's the 4th commonest cause of divorce in the West because people don't talk to each other. So communication is suffering within a husband and wife setup. So I think India is changing, but it's not been recognized that this is going to have a profound impact on the future relationships of people.
Quite often the reason boils down to the simple fact of a lowering of communication levels, a lack of understanding, which in turn leads to a lack of trust, and so many problems, of which some may be true and some may be only perceived by one of the partners in the marriage.
Watch out for these early warning signs. You no longer laugh together. You confide more in friends than in each other. You no longer share interests and friends. Life has become stale and indifferent. Your disagreements inevitably escalate into fights. You no longer bother about looking good. You no longer take interest in your spouse's job, leisure, or routine. You no longer remember and go through the past together. The prospect of spending your life together depresses you.
Even the happiest of marriages are not without signs of conflict at times. What if you feel you're growing apart and there are signs of trouble? It is time then to seek help.
Nobody is there to help. People rather come and provoke more. They feel happy if the problem worsens. Nobody is there to help, only to make fun.
They can come to some of their family friends. They may like to discuss the problem with them and seek solutions from them. They may turn to their parents, another side, and try to seek their intervention to solve the problem. They may come to some qualified marriage counselors, psychologists, psychiatrists. Now, they may come to different, people with different kind of backgrounds, or professional backgrounds, and with different kind of roles in their life, and they may seek help from them. I think the first task which any one of them who is trying to deal with their problems, what he needs to or she needs to observe is that there must be a sympathetic understanding of their problem.
There's nobody to help. My elder brother helps a little, but basically I take care of myself. I'm only worried about my daughter. She should be educated and well settled.
Marital disharmony is becoming very common these days, and the indications for marital therapy are, especially when the person, in spite of the help that he gets from his family members, yet the disharmony starts showing in sort of psychosomatic problems, or it has an effect on mental health of the individual.
After about 6 months of marriage itself, the problem started. He would drink and abuse me. Because of that, I developed TB and got admitted into the hospital. Then it started affecting my mind also. I started getting giddiness and headache. My eyes have also become weak and I can't even hear properly.
Such marital disharmony cases where a lot of family conflicts, a lot of family interpersonal difficulties lead to a kind of anxiety and depression among the patients. She feels irritable, she feels tired all the time, she has multiple somatic complaints where there is a physical pain, agony, and all the time she is grumbling about something or the other. But this has got a root in the family conflicts.
The kind of problems which they are faced with, in fact, even in the absence of significant other adult members around them, they are not able to share those problems with them. With the result, they keep quibbling with each other, they keep quarreling with each other, and that leads to a marital disharmony which they are not able to really either comprehend or even to tackle.
In the joint family system, you had the grandparents to be there, they were there to take care of the children, but since we don't have that kind, it's, of course, it is present, but it's not very prevalent as it was in the yesteryears. And this is one of the reasons why we have more stress today than we had earlier on.
Marital disharmony has effect on children. Lots of children, they come up with psychological problems that they are not doing well in the school in spite of being very intelligent. They are very anxious, they get scared of very small things, and sexual problems are one of the major underlying factors for marital disharmony, and hence if these could be identified and the treatment could be given.
Now what we need to do is that, having assessed the problem, having identified the real issues in there which are leading to marital disharmony, we need to then sit with them and offer some kind of a therapy. It can be just listening to their problem, it can be offering certain solutions to their problems, it can be restructuring or rearranging or reorganizing their life patterns and lifestyles.
And different types of marital therapies, basically initially it used to be first the supportive type of the help, where the individual is helped through, is given the emotional support to go through the crisis period.
To all you couples out there, don't wait till your marriage reaches into a point of no return. Seize every opportunity to make your marriage work. Every marriage can be turned into a success, provided you work hard for it and make it a loving relationship, either on your own or with a little help from your friends.
Don't be afraid to talk about your unhappiness. Instead of complaining and criticizing, accept each other. Set aside time for just talking and listening. Keep your relationship vibrant. Ask what you can do to improve the relationship. Take time out for fun. Be a caring lover. Keep discovering each other. Grow as a couple.
Building a sound marriage is like constructing a high-rise building. The initial foundation has to be very, very strong to be able to withstand the burden as story upon story is added up. Marriage is not a static relationship between two unchanging people. It starts with attraction, and as it travels along, self-discovery takes place for the final culmination of an emotional, lifelong, strong bond.
Silent in your tears, wasted in your years. When you cry alone. Recourse to fantasy, living with insanity. Another night beside the phone. The war within, addictions in the bin. Curl up with your memories, togetherness and harmony. Put your mind